So once again, we have three readings that all are very nicely tied to a common idea. And the theme for today, if you didn't quite catch it, all three readings had something to do with the idea that we need to be forgiving, generous, and to do good in life, with the warning that one day we will answer for all our deeds. We will answer for the bad things we've done, but we'll also answer for the good things we've done. And that is the very idea of the final judgment. Now, we don't like to talk about the final judgment much. When people hear the term final judgment, they have a tendency to think of punishments and trials. Do this thing or you're a bad person. And that's not the idea. That's rather reductionist, if you don't mind me saying so. Because the final judgment is just as much a review as it is a judgment. But regardless of the terminology you settle on, the point is the same. You will answer for all your deeds in life. They will follow you longer than you think. You cannot outrun them because you cannot outrun yourself. And before I move on today, let's be clear here. We don't believe in a meritocracy. We don't believe that we can earn our way to heaven. We are not saved by our works. We are saved by grace, which means we are saved precisely because God loves us so much, specifically through Jesus dying on the cross. Got to always keep that in mind. So with that said and done, I want to share two somewhat comical ideas about the final judgment. And the first is just a kind of a coffee conversation piece. I share this when chatting with people at parties or whatever, and amusingly, it almost always incurs the same reaction. I say to people, well, there's this quasi-theory out there that states that you get to heaven if there is one person already in heaven who's willing to vouch for you. The most typical reaction is, ooh, I'm in trouble. I don't know who's going to vouch for me, but it won't be my dad. And obviously, that's not the way it works. It's just a thought experiment. But there is a lesson in that little quip, in that heaven is something that involves other people. If you live your life making no friends and a ton of enemies, what would heaven possibly be like for you? You? Alone by yourself? For all eternity? That's not paradise. That's hell. That's hell when all the demons have gone on vacation or have some kind of team building exercise or something. And I fully believe that team building exercises are a thing in hell, so got to put that there. But seriously, salvation is something that involves others. A selfish person gets into heaven about the same time a camel goes through the eye of a needle. Forgiveness and generosity is the path to heaven. And the other thing I wanted to share today is a little story. As the story goes, an old woman dies after living her life doing no good deed in her entire life. She was selfish from day one right up until the end. So she's burning in the lake of fire, and she sees an angel fly overhead. So she flags him down hey, you, angel, get over here. I want to talk to you. The angel is understandably a little confused by that, flies over to her and hovers a few feet above her. And she goes, I don't belong here. You need to lift me out of these flames and carry me to heaven right now. And the angel goes, well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's nothing I can do. You're in hell because you haven't done any good thing in your entire life. And the woman goes, that is a filthy lie. I once gave a green onion to a beggar. So the angel goes, oh, you've got to be kidding me. All right, fine. I will carry you to heaven, if a green onion is strong enough to support you. So the angel gets a green onion. Don't ask me where he got it. I assume he went to a farmer's market or something. Don't take the story too seriously. But he gets the green onion, extends it over to her, and she grabs it, and wouldn't you know it, the angel starts hoisting her up, and it seems to work. She goes up a few inches, few more inches, and right around the point where her feet are right above the flames, the other people in hell around her figure out what's going on. They see a chance to escape. So they rush over to her. They wrap themselves around her feet and say, "Don't forget about us. Take us with you. Save us too." And the woman goes, "Get away from me, you punks," as she shakes him off her leg. Says, "This is my green onion. Mine." And as soon as she says that, green onion tears in two, and she falls back into the flames. I like that story. It's not mine. I don't remember where I heard it. I would quote the original author if I knew who they were. I like that story because it reminds us that we can absolutely get to heaven with one good deed. That is absolutely possible. With Christ dying on the cross for us all, that's enough, totally enough for Jesus to work with. We can get to heaven by giving a stranger a vegetable that's worth about 15 cents. Plenty. However, there is a condition. There is a catch. If you want to get to heaven by the virtue of one singular good deed, you need to be ready to give up all the bad deeds that you have grown accustomed to in life. And if you think of your soul as a balance between good deeds and bad deeds, the more lopsided that scale is, the harder it is to accomplish that. So in the story, the woman couldn't let go of her selfish behavior, and that cannot exist in heaven. The green onion isn't the problem. That green onion would have taken her and all the other people right up to heaven if she let it. The problem was her cold, compassionless heart. That is the sort of thing that locks the door to heaven forever. So let's remember to always be forgiving, generous, and to do good in life, because one day we will answer for all that we've done and all that we didn't do in life, our good deeds and our bad. There is a final accounting. Our lives will be like an open book. So don't let your life and your soul be an embarrassment. Let your life and your soul be a fitting presentation to God. Let your life be a work of art that God takes and proudly puts on the refrigerator. That's the final judgment. And also remember that no matter how glorious or sinful our lives are, we are not saved by our works. We are merely saved by the grace of God, that love that Christ has for us on the cross. But we are expected to express that grace with forgiveness, with generosity, and goodness in our lives here on earth.